What are the disadvantages of being too smart? Knowing how stupid you are. Someone says, "How did you get so smart?" and you're constantly thinking, "I hardly know anything about this topic." Quote, once in a while you go to a subreddit that covers a topic you think you're pretty good within. Then you realize that some of the people there have forgotten more about the subject than you've ever known. It's good to keep yourself in check. Being labeled a smart kid early on and having huge pressure put on you to succeed continually. Or being labeled a smart kid and thinking you'll always be smart if you don't work for it. Knowing you are smart enough but don't have the discipline to apply it and achieve something great. In the middle ground of being smarter than most people, I'd say not learning how to learn at an early age. What I mean is everything in school being pretty easy and you don't really need to try that hard until maybe GR 12 or first year of university. And then all of a sudden it's a lot harder and you have to learn how to learn. Senior year of high school was the first time I ever struggled with a class and I had no idea how to cope. Granted, it was AP Calculus, but still. My dad couldn't understand why I was struggling so hard, but luckily my teacher was actually the husband of my school district's elementary school gifted teacher. And so he knew the struggles gifted children go through once we hit the point where stuff doesn't naturally come to us anymore. Your mind never seems to stop. Unfortunately, several find the off switch in the bottle and prefer off to on. I can promise you that you'll eventually find a way that's not at the bottom of a bottle. It can be at the bottom of an empty bag of weed too. Depression. You see more of the world beneath its many veils, and it can be depressing. You're praised for being naturally gifted, or talented, or smart, so there's all this pressure on you to achieve monumental feats in your life. But they don't teach you that being smart, gifted, talented is a completely different sphere of human character than developing all the skills and mindsets necessary to achieve things. So you become depressed, or you develop this identity based on an external locus of control, where being smart, gifted, talented means you grow up never having to really apply yourself, and you just expect yourself to automatically succeed at anything you try. So when you try something that matters a lot to you and can't figure out how to succeed at it, you get depressed, because your entire sense of identity is being challenged. Your elders keep reminding you about all your potential, because you're raised in a society that values achievement and results. So when you don't rise to your potential, you feel ashamed and guilty, like you're wasting these natural gifts. So you feel depressed, and you learn to loathe the word potential. Being smart comes with so much fucking expectations from absolutely everyone around you, and it's like you're suddenly burdened with the weight of the entire world, wondering when you agreed to become Atlas. And because you probably grew up not learning how to keep your intelligence in check enough on the social level to not alienate your peers, you wind up craving social affection so much that you become a people pleaser. So you struggle to keep all this worldly weight on your shoulders because you're afraid, ultimately, of being alone and unloved, of being resented and rejected like you suffered so much growing up. And the weight of this planet of other people's expectations that you dare not shrug off feels like it's crushing you. So you feel trapped, and therefore depressed. You analyze too much, it's inhibiting. People may assume you're being an ass if you correct them about something, or if you speak with all the big words. If you dumb it down, for lack of a better word, you're being patronizing. Sometimes it's a lose-lose scenario. Man, this hits home. I tend to have a pretty expansive vocabulary, and I make full use of that when I wind up in an argument. More than once I've been accused of trying to seem smart by using big words. It's especially true online, because of course it is. Being socially maladaptive, not understanding people because you predictably assume more than they say by projecting your thought process on them, etc. Yup. I know a couple super genius people, PhDs, works for NASA in Colorado, etc. She's kind. She's a good monsieur. But just socially. I dunno. It's like the real estate in her brain that's in charge of social responses got gobbled up by the wall of smartness. Humor is off point. Social timing is bad, and staying on topic feels like a 30% fail rate. Realizing that a large percentage of the population is incredibly stupid and will never even be smart enough to comprehend it, or understand anything else that's not low-level and totally simple. And I'm no Einstein myself. It's just something I've noticed having lived on this earth for 43 years as someone of decent intellect. My new motto has become, be kind to everyone, for they're all stupid, which kinda resonates with what Jesus said when they crucified him. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Perceiving the world in a very different light than around 99% of people around you, and therefore feeling like you don't belong. Loneliness. Living entirely in your head, with no one to talk to about things that interest you at the level you want to speak about it. Filtering everything you say or do because you really don't want to come off as condescending or pretentious. Don't use your big words because they might know what they mean. Not always giving the answer, or sometimes giving the wrong one so someone else feels smart. Seeing how everything fits and works, but having to wait for most of the people to catch up. A lot of waiting, and if you help them, then you are the bitch who is trying to embarrass the monsieur. Drinking in frustration to dull the knowledge that you can see how all the puzzle pieces work, but being powerless to do a single thing about it. Yup. Intelligence as a woman is a minefield of male ego traps. You're constantly on watch to make sure no man feels like you're too smart, or condescending to them by knowing more things than they do. Actually, serious answer here. Right now I'm a dumb fuck, but during early childhood I was diagnosed as gifted. And outside the US, UK, I would 100% say the education system is one of the worst things about being gifted. The education system forces us to memorize facts and spit them into an exam. You're not all gifted. Children have exceptional memory. My memory has never been good, but I am better at logic. The curriculum also tends to be extremely limited, with no space for the student to explore a field of interest, want to learn and do research about. World War II? Sorry kid, but we're learning the American Revolution. I would also blame the exam system for the systemic failure of gifted kids. Yes, more gifted kids fail than succeed. Gifted people tend to be extremely curious, and they adore research and reading. But the school system isn't suited for that. All of this, added to peer pressure to succeed and hurtful stereotypes, kills our interest in things and leads to us not taking advantage of our abilities. Why learn, if I'm going to get scolded for that? This answer is getting a little long, but I also can't forget to mention thinking that all gifted children excel at everything. One gifted kid may suck at maths but be a prodigy for learning languages. One gifted kid may suck at languages but be an art prodigy. A gifted kid can be gifted in several subjects but actually proficient in none. There is an obvious lack of flexibility in the education system for the needs of gifted kids. I love how you said diagnosed as gifted. Giftedness is actually diagnosed. I don't know whether you genuinely meant this or you said it to mock what I said, but I feel like it should be said. You are so used to easily passing tests without work when you're young that you don't feel the need to study as you get older and your grades end up decreasing. Source: personal experience. Having an existential crisis at age 12. Edit. Damn, some of y'all had depressing childhoods. I wouldn't call myself smart, but I threw a fit in the middle of the city once I realized that my life literally didn't matter and everyone I love has to die someday. Imagine a kid walking along the street with his mew monsieur and suddenly it starts screaming and crying and screeching. The mother has no idea what happened because she didn't even say anything wrong. The kid is screaming about his father and mother dying and asking himself aloud why he is even here. If he can't prevent it, Of course I said it differently and not in English. So anyways, my poor, confused mom had something to laugh about. And I have too. Having an existential crisis at age ~12~6. Imposter syndrome sucks. You basically assume that everyone has your knowledge, and somehow have more on top of that because they were less lazy and studied more. And despite whatever amount of effort you put in, since you did it, it must be the bare minimum effort that everyone else put in. Yes, I know calculus, differential equations, root finding, and of course I know about Hilbert spaces, numerous decomposition of linear systems, probability distributions, log time to exp time algorithms, context-free grammars, how Google works, how your operating system works, what exactly is causing your float errors, how unit propagation can stop your model from blowing up, and 3 to 6 different programming languages depending on my workload. But that's all basic stuff. Asterisk, everyone knows that. Asterisk, your description is flawless. I couldn't possibly agree more. I assume that, since everyone is always saying, get your work done, don't cheat, be successful, that, upon doing this, we would probably be on the same page. Nope. Apparently they decided to just say that, while doing absolutely none of it themselves. Not even that, they hold it against us that they don't know this stuff. Some max tier griefing if it was intentional. But it's genuine stupidity, so it's somehow our fault. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.